We are recording. Thank you for attending Worldwide Slot Car Chat number 21. I'm your host, Greg Gaub. Today we have John Kitt, Russ Paver, Luff Linkert, a new person. I don't remember seeing RK before, but I have a terrible memory. Steve Hendrickson, Dennis Sampson. Looks like we also have Chris Walker on the line. Raymond Carthy is here. All right. RK, have you been on here before?
No, actually, first time. I was partially, I'm in IT, and I've got a person I help who's interested in Zoom, and I'm not real favorite of Zoom, so I thought I'd give it a try.
Would you like to tell us about your slot car related history? How you started with slot cars?
Actually, all the way back into the 60s, I guess, with the original model motoring, the old AC cars, the little vibrator cars. From there, in the late 60s, early 70s, went into 24th scale, jumped to RC for quite a time, and then I guess about 2006, I got back into 132nd, and I've been pretty much doing that full time. Been retired for quite a few years, so basically now I'm looking at maybe going back and playing with 24th scale again. So.
Do you got a track at home?
No, unfortunately, just don't have the space. But I've been doing it long enough. I can usually build a car right out of the box and be pretty competitive. So,
where do you race at?
Well, I'm right in the Philadelphia area. There was a commercial track, Mainline Hobbies, which did 32nd. They've since kind of closed up shop, and he's just now a small little building that he sells stuff from. But we have a number of people who have home tracks. So at one time we had something like 8 home tracks that we were running at. Right now we're at about 6, but and with the pandemic that's dropped down too. So, and then there are a couple 24th scale tracks in the area as well. So just quick run over in Jersey and Bala, PA and such. So.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much for joining us, and thank you for sharing your slot history. I don't have any topics really. I did want to read a comment that somebody posted to the previous YouTube video after I uploaded last week's meeting regarding the the VIASU and TrackMate discussion we were having. He says he's worked with both. To me, it's a simple and easy decision. TrackMate, still bulletproof after 15 years. Plus, you can use its hardware to work with Race Coordinator software, which has a very extensive set of race features such as fueling, not to mention race to finish versus typical TrackMate, where the power cuts after the first place finishes the race. We tried using VSU hardware, which was designed to work with Race Coordinator, but too many issues with electrical interference, and we could never get the lane relays to cut power to work. So another vote for TrackMate hardware. And obviously it works with lots and lots of different software programs. Does anybody have anything they want to add since last week, or any questions on track timing software or hardware? RK, do you have any personal?
Actually, a lot of firsthand experience in working with various programs. I'm trying to remember the software we used at Mainline, but we oftentimes would do races where you actually had to do a pit stop. And you stop your car, you had to watch the fuel, and you kind of had to plan ahead, and then you figured out how many laps you had and the way you went. It was pretty good. The business about interference is a big one. Done a lot of experimentation with using capacitors on the circuitry to short out high frequency. We've actually had some instances where certain controllers would cause the system to false read. Oh, nice car.
All right, who's sharing that? I forgot to turn that on.
Sorry, guys.
You testing out your screen sharing there, Chris?
Well, I wanted to see if I had it figured out, and I didn't know if I shouldn't have done that first.
No, that's cool. I guess we're going to have a show and tell from Chris. RK, did you have anything else you wanted to add on that?
Well, thinking back, actually, I've had a long history with real racing too. So I spent time during the late 60s, 70s, early 80s doing race photography here in the Pennsylvania area with a lot of different races. basically had 12 years at Watkins Glen, missing only one race during that whole period. So, yeah, I love some of the classic Formula One cars because that's the era that I grew up in.
Well, you must have some amazing photos.
I do. I've long had this plan to convert everything I've got, because it's mostly on slide and negative, over to digital. In fact, I have an actual Nikon device to do that. But when I got started to do it, I had a computer crash, and I just never got back to it. So
I'll tell you what.
Looks like you got a new computer, so maybe it's time.
well, I do have a new one, but that's mainly because for one person I help, he had to go to a Windows 10 machine. And I'm not in favor of Windows 10 myself. So I had to go through and do a lot of experimentation and figure out how to lock it down properly and stop all the chatter to the internet it has. It's like every program wants to call home to Microsoft. But any case, getting back to the business about the TrackMate and all that other stuff and the electronics of it, it is really, really sensitive to electronic noise. One of the things that can help is the leads that go to the photodiodes for picking up. Twisting them helps a lot. Even having shielded cable helps a lot. Also, coming straight down from underneath the track versus going across the other lanes helps, because you also pick up noise from the lanes. Those little generators that we have, also called electric motors, they can be noisy.
Oh yes, from the digital world of slot cars, yes, motors can be a right pain in the butt to electronics of all kinds.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much for your expertise and experience in that.
Sure.
I didn't really have any other topic suggestions. Does anybody have any show and tell they want to do? Chris, did you want to show your cars off some more? Or?
Well, it took me, you have no idea how long it took me to get that one. All I can basically do is sift through and randomly try and share them and stop the conversations.
Well, here's what I was doing that kind of seemed to work is, just don't mess with Zoom. Go and find your thing and open it, then switch back to Zoom, and then do the share screen and click the thing. But if that's the end of stuff that's not working out, click and share screen, and then if it's not popping up, like actually the second time that I went to get a picture, I clicked on share screen and nothing popped up. I'm like, okay, so I clicked it again, and then it popped up. Computers.
My issue is I've got a billion pictures on Finder. An eighth of an inch big, so you're staring at them going, is that the picture I want to show or not? So I need to figure out a way to put like 10 or 12 of them or 5 or 6 of them in a file, and then I can just go click, 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 share screen. But
I use the in Windows Explorer, when I got a folder full of pictures, I switch it to large thumbnail view, and they're pretty recognizable, so it makes it a lot easier to find specific pictures without opening them first. But you're still scrolling a lot, and you got a lot of pictures. Not much you can do. What you got, Russ?
Well, I don't know if you remember last week, but we were talking about the race programs, like you said, and I had an issue with the program I was using in that it wouldn't do fueling properly. It wouldn't do a pre-start properly, where if you jump to start, you got a penalty. There were a few different things, and I have figured it out. Computer's working good now. The issue was, okay, from the fidget boards, and I explained that, right? Fidget boards, one has relays, one has the rest of your stuff and connectors for lanes. I had a USB out of each fidget going into a single or into a hub, and I went with the single cable, USB cable, out of the hub into the computer. The computer was on the other side of the room, so I've got long cables going to everything. since I moved the cable back, I moved the computer back to just under the fidget boards, reconnected everything, went with 2 USB cables instead of a hub, and everything's working fine now.
Awesome.
So that's a good thing. I've got another problem. See if anybody can help with this. All right. My garage floor has the foam pads all the way around it. Okay, for comfort. The issue is that somebody will be walking, touch the top of my track and touch my copper, and it'll zap them.
Oh, static.
Static electricity.
Yeah, the static, and it is sometimes a pretty good shocker. So I've tried a ground wire. I've tried all types of things to get this to stop or to have it quit shocking you. So anyway, it shocked the shit out of you. All right. So anyway, I have went to I've got a gallon of stuff I just bought. I haven't tried it. It's called Static Guard. You're supposed to be able to mop the floor and no more problems. I'll let you know if that works. I haven't tried it yet. Has anyone else had this experience?
Suggestion, try a humidifier in the space to get the humidity level up.
Really?
That's probably what's causing the static.
Yeah.
It's too dry. If you get more moisture in the air, you won't have as much static electricity charge being created by scuffling across the mat.
Okay.
Just tell everybody it's their own fault for touching your track.
Yeah. I don't know what the hell.
The
Keep
copper.
your hands
What do you want to touch my track for?
Keep your hands off the track.
Yeah.
You're right.
So all is good otherwise.
In terms,
And I looked in. Sorry.
Sorry about that. In terms of the issue you were talking about with your computer cables, basically USB is basically allows one device to talk at a time. So when you go through a hub and then go through the computer, only one thing can talk to the computer at a time. Whereas if you're going right into the computer, you can actually have multiple devices talking to the computer. So it's distance, yes, means something because you get latency in the cable, but the more you plug straight into the computer, the more the computer can directly contact and communicate with each device.
Right. So, which is what I thought was happening because it's basically it was hitting that hub and then bottlenecking and trying to go through the one USB from there.
Exactly.
Back to the computer. So, no go. I wish you were here last week.
I'm glad everything's working for you, and let us know how the static guard thing works, and get a humidifier if that doesn't work.
Well, yeah, that's a good idea.
Hopefully, people stop getting zapped. I see we
Or
have
I can have everyone wear the
the static thing. That had popped into my mind. I'm like, yeah, I know a bunch of people who aren't going to be putting anything on their wrist if they're not.
I'll
gonna
just tell them to do it. I'll
They won't
buy a
even wear
bunch of them.
masks, so you're gonna get in
You gotta
trouble.
have these to race. Okay.
Yeah, the problem is you got to ground the people. It doesn't help grounding the track. You got to ground the people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Looks like we have Billy Cart joining us. Billy Cart, you want to say hi and tell us a little bit about yourself? Is there a delay? Can you hear us? Billy, can you hear us? Oh, here we go. Connecting to audio. Can you hear us, Billy? All right. Can you unmute your microphone? Because you're muted right now.
Is that better?
There we go. Now we can hear you.
Oh, yeah.
Are you the Billy Cart that I know of?
Yeah.
All right.
Got that light in the background. I'll have to.
Tell the viewers about Billy Cart.
Oh, yeah. Phil from the land of Oz, down in Bendigo, Victoria, originally from New South Wales, which probably makes me New South Welsh, but living in Mexico, what we call Mexico down in Victoria, down south of the border. probably slot car wise in the 70s as a kid. I was just busting for a slot car for Christmas one year. I might have been 9 or 10. Lo and behold, got it. I had a couple of mates that got the same set, and we'd play it ourselves, or we'd get together in one of the mates' big lounge rooms. He was a local copper, so he had a big old historic residence with space, so we could get 3 tracks together. There was probably, I don't know, 3 or 4 years in late primary school before we hit high school. It was just fantastic. Did a little bit of track racing in Sydney on the big wooden routed tracks, but wine, women and song and work, you get distracted, and footy and everything. So 2004, I got 4 boys. So I was looking for Chris presents, went in, and they said there was this digital set, and I, what's digital? And he said, oh, you can overtake. And I was sold then on that. That's all I had to know, because that's what we wanted as kids. But could we race cars and overtake and do everything that our heroes were doing at Mount Panorama, you know, Peter Brock and Alan Moffat, Ford and Holden, etc. So I bought a digital set and an analog set. We put them together, and then the rest is history. The next year, the next 2 boys got a set each. We had it out in the main lounge room till the wife got really angry, and then that was for a couple of months. Then it went into a cupboard, and then one Bathurst weekend, the second oldest boy pulled it out and just started putting it together. And then we got the ultimatum that it wasn't going to stay on the floor for another month or 2. So we moved into the garage, got a table, put it up. And then the rest is history. So just love playing with the slot cars. More a racer. I'm starting to fiddle around with it now. I look at all the scenery and the engine, you know, the scale engineers that we've got in the forum. And I didn't find the forum, the Slot Car Forum International. There's a few other forums around the place, but just the people who were on that at the time. There was Drummer, there was Rick Ectorman, there was Rich G, there was Rico Rocket. I think you came along a bit later, Greg, but all this information that enabled you to get digital wood, which was early days. It was and yeah, so bang, left with 30-odd metre track. Said I'd never have, you know, hot cars, but I think last Christmas the kids asked me how many. I said I genuinely don't know. And they went in and counted up close to 200, which sort of opened the size. Nothing. Never do that again. And we were racing regularly each fortnight. There's 4 to 6. I think the most we've had was 10. Where they come around the track and we race digital, you know, we have points and everything awarded, and there's a little mini series. We all throw in $5 each and divvy the prize money up at the end of the year. And I was almost beaten at my home track, which was interesting. So the driving's getting really, you know, we can go 5, 6 laps in a row where you could have 2 or 3 cars locked into genuine close road quarters where there's overtaking, locking, there's minimal crashing now to the level that it's at. It is. Yeah. Anyway, it's probably my journey, and I just enjoy the forum. I'm watching a lot of the videos, but usually that Northern Hemisphere time catches me. AM's a bit of a long slog, but I actually thought I've been working from home, locked in isolation since start of March, and I figured out how to work all this video conferencing for. And actually, I'll pop in and g'day.
So you're a pro racer then?
Yeah, professional. He gets money, right?
Yeah.
Lost volume.
Therefore, it's professional.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad
sorry,
you
I
joined us.
couldn't hear.
Oh, I said you're a pro racer, Billy. Oh, did we lose him?
His connection is a little wonky. We were getting little skips and starts through when he was talking, so he might not be getting a reliable stream down either.
Right. Well, you know, he is coming from a bit of a distance, I
He's
guess.
a little far away, but
Yeah.
you know, so are we all, right? But regardless,
Sorry, I lost volume. I don't know if they can hear me now.
Yeah, much better. We were just saying that you're a professional racer then.
Oh, I wouldn't say professional, but yeah, it's
we go hard in the Aussie V8. But the thing I'm most impressed with, it's like, what's that, 16 years, and all my kids building these to pieces. And what can't be fixed with a soldering iron and a hot glue is amazing. Although I recently went to do the first chassis repair for mate. I saw a great video about how to flatten the chassis with water and mats and put it in the oven at 250 degrees and everything. And I put it in the oven. The wife said, "You sure you want it hot?" "Yeah, I can video 250. That's Fahrenheit. That's all you blow over on the other side of it. Yeah. I've never seen a more twisted, metal, stretched, shrunk chassis, plastic chassis in my life. Great lesson.
Yeah, that's that silly imperial measurement. I would love if my country switched to Celsius. I already love metric, measurements, but Celsius would make make everything so much easier. How hot is it? Oh, it's freezing cold over there. No, Celsius. I still don't know how hot that is.
Well,
All I know is when I used to go to the shearing sheds with my dad was a shearer, and all the old blokes would say it's 100 in the shade. That's 38 Celsius. Sorry.
Well, the good news though is that when Canadians tell Americans what the temperature is, they still think it's in Fahrenheit, which is why no one comes up here.
They will eventually. They'll figure it out.
Oh, John, let's say that's one of the reasons we don't come up there.
Right. One of the reasons. Right. Yeah. That and learning how to skate.
Well, I'm glad you could join us, Billy. Hopefully you can stick around and hopefully you can come more often. Does anybody have any topics or show and tell or questions or anything they want to talk about, or should we just shoot the shit some more? Hey, all right, Chris is sharing pictures.
Oh, he's flashing slot cars again.
Yeah.
What you got there, Chris? I assume that's Chris. Now he's muted.
Has to be Chris. None of the rest of us can build like that.
That is a 32nd scale monogram Lotus 33 that I converted from a high exhaust to a low exhaust. And that car I entered in a recent proxy for cars that ran in the 1967 World Championship series. So lucky enough, that one managed to win the series. So I've done one. I'm tired after.
What's underneath it? Is it scratch built underneath, Chris?
Yes, I'll see if I can find. You guys just talk amongst yourselves. This isn't going to be quick.
I just wish I could work out how he gets that finish on the paint.
You just paint it on there, Dennis.
No, I've never been able to get it like that. I just finished one myself.
Hang on.
I could also share screen if you liked.
I'll find the stablemate. Here's the. This is. You see that?
Yeah, that's the Ferrari.
That's the stablemate to it. That's the Ferrari 158.
With the Atlas wheel inserts.
With which?
Atlas wheel inserts. Those are not the original monogram wheel inserts.
No, they're not. They are BWA inserts.
Yeah, which was a copy of the Atlas wheel inserts.
Yes.
Now, Chris, did those proxy races also have a Concours as well?
Yes, and neither of the last two cars I showed you won the Concours.
Yeah.
What? You got to be kidding!
Nope. They both won. The Ferrari won. That was in the VRAA. That won that series. The Lotus won its series, and if you, oh Christ, where is all this stuff? I will show you precisely.
Well, Who was doing that? Was Stevie Wonder a judge again, or what happened?
No, you just got to see the stuff that did win it.
Huh?
Yeah.
Got to see the things that did win it. It's just
Well,
amazing.
that's, yeah, they're in here somewhere, maybe. Mark Tyler won one.
Oh, that his scratch-built McLaren that he entered?
McLaren M5A.
Yeah, I've seen that. That is very nice.
David Mitchum won another one with a Ferrari 312.
Yeah. And that thing was gorgeous.
And no sour grapes on my part. What, like, completely deservedly so. I will show you. This is. You see that? No. You see that?
Yeah, that's the new Trek.
That's the new 6-lane Paula car that's being built. I was up there today. Personally, I think it's too bloody fast and too bloody long, but that's just me.
Well, when you say it's fast, do you mean it's like smooth or?
Too much
No,
straight.
just that in the circuit is, you go flying down a corner, you do a 180, and then you come fly like it's and the straightaway on the left-hand side here and on the right-hand side are like, 25 sections. Unless you've got a pretty big motored car, you'll be standing there watching it go down the straight for a long, long time. So
That was my first reaction when I saw that it was basically just a bunch of drag strips.
yeah, no, yes, I agree with that.
Chris, whereabouts in the city is it, if you don't mind me asking?
It's going to be at basically 427 and Finch, 427 and Steeles.
Yeah.
In and around there. The track that I'm a little more interested in is this one. If you can,
Now we're talking.
you see that?
Yeah, that's the Ogilvy track, right?
That's it's sort of reminiscent of an MTT-ish thing. It's a 6-lane flat track. It's about 160-ish feet long. And this is just for sponge tires, and this is going to be a light spray glue track. So a different kind of car.
That's too bad.
My kind of car.
Yeah, it is.
There's a track like that at the Pacific Raceway's commercial slot car track here in the Edgewood area, Washington. It's painted yellow and everything. That's where they do their flat track worlds in this area, is on a track like that.
It's Jim Redford's place.
Yep.
So how far away are we from opening, Chris?
At the pace we're going, another month, but that's fine because, if we open tomorrow, who the hell's going to be in the store? You can allow 1 or 2 people in at a time, so it's in no rush to sort of get open. What did I want to show Dennis? I wanted to show Dennis something here.
I was asking about the chassis.
Yeah, that is. These pictures are so bloody small, and I'm so useless at finding them, which is probably the truth here. It's a modified Bear Dog, Dennis,
Oh, okay.
and I cut the Bear Dog in half. Is that it?
Did you use the bear or the dog?
No, this is.
Well, whatever. He probably just got a bog out of it by the time he was done. There you go.
You see that one?
Yeah.
Yeah, on this one, it was flexible enough. So what I basically did was hogged out the whole center and just put the brass in with some O2O wire and a couple of hinges so it'd sort of act like a rattle plate and wouldn't freeze up the torsional flex in the chassis.
Yeah, nice.
And that worked. That was under the Lotus, and that worked spectacularly well.
Chris, is that Dennis's tube on the front there for the guide?
No, that was prior
that's
to Dennis coming out with his tubes.
Oh.
But it looks basically the same other than the dimensions and stuff like that.
It's
I was just trying to get a
just different.
Oh, I was trying to get a plug-in for Dennis. Sorry.
Thank you, John.
He doesn't need any bloody plugs. He gets too many. What else do you want to see? You want to see a cool Cox car? That's a cool Cox.
Yeah.
Dennis will like this. I think he's already seen it.
Which one's that?
But he doesn't like my smooth paint job, so there you go.
It's not that I don't like them, it's that I can't replicate them. Oh,
Well,
yeah.
If it's any consolation, Dennis, neither could Ferrari.
Yeah,
Very, very
yeah,
nice.
that's nice. Very nice.
Now,
And-
was that all from Vintage Parts, Chris?
Yeah, that's an original.
It's a Cox Dino 206 Spider.
So that wasn't your chassis. That was Cox's original Vintage chassis.
Yeah, no. I'm not going to bugger around with that. But
That was quite a nice car because it was one of the few that ran with the 16D motor instead of the big lump 3060.
oh yeah,
And,
it's,
they worked pretty well.
they worked well, and then you can do some pretty serious modifications to the Cox chassis. And if I could find that picture.
Yeah, I remember you hang big brass plates and things underneath.
Yeah, you can make them actually work unbelievably well if you do the right things, but I can't, someone else go ahead and yammer away and
I was just going to say that's what my wife says about me.
I'm still trying to figure out, oh, here we go.
Come on, man, we're on the clock.
Oh, I hate.
Yeah, no pressure. No pressure.
I am actually working down here, Greg.
Yeah.
Were you really ex-NASA?
Oh, wow, fancy.
Can you see that?
That's your gaming rig, huh, Billy?
Oh, was that?
We didn't see anything from Chris.
Oh, we saw something from Billy that kind of looked neat.
Yeah, he's got a nice big computer.
Oh, there it is.
What
Oh,
in the world am I looking at?
The front end of a Cox.
A Cox Dino chassis, and I needed to do a few things. I wanted to raise the front axle a little bit, which lowered the front ride height without using stupidly small wheels and tires. I wanted to create something where I could freeze and adjust the drop arm. I wanted some pans and weight, and I wanted the whole thing to be able to, in basically seconds, to be taken off. So I can undo like 3 little nuts and bolts here, slide the whole thing forward and it drops off. Then I can replace the stock plastic part and I'm back to a complete stock chassis on the whole thing.
Nice.
So
now do that in 1/32.
no problem at all. I've already done that.
Yeah, put that onto the Cheeto or something like that.
Yeah, the Cheeto or the GT40. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Lotus 30.
Oh, Lotus 30. Okay. That's 1/24th though, no?
Yes, I mean, I've done one for the 32nd scale Cheetah.
Oh, you did?
Yep. It's exactly the same, just, dimensionally a little small.
3/4 the size.
Yeah. It's pretty tiny.
Wow.
I think my active.
Does the word inadequate come to anyone else's mind, or just
Gotta have we all have to have something to shoot for there, Billy.
Chris has been doing this a long time, Billy. He's kind of the guru that we all look up to and bow. No, we're not worthy. We're not worthy.
You guys know what a Strombecker looks like?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not
Oh,
like
yes,
that,
I
they
was
don't.
following that one. That's beautiful. Yeah.
That looks gorgeous.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this, I've got a bunch of these. So I've got some on the stock two-piece Pro brass chassis thing that they came out, which was actually not that bad at all, and you could make them run quite well. But this one, I sort of wanted to bugger around a bit, so I scratch built a chassis for this thing, and it's very short, it's very narrow, it has no guide lead whatsoever, but despite all its shortcomings, it handles really, really well.
Now, is that for a proxy as well, Chris, or is that just for fun?
No, I basically grew up at Mosport. My dad ran scrutineering for Mosport when it first started. So I was there from 1961 onwards. So he would drop me off and do his stuff, and I would take my little knapsack and wander around the track. I remember going down to outside of corner 5, which is my favorite. And Chris Ammon came around in this thing, won the sister car, and I just about crapped myself. I just thought this was the greatest looking thing I've ever seen in my life. So I bought over the years, I bought the Strombecker version, which I had to add the rear spoiler and the front diaplane and change a whole bunch of things to it. But it was just a car that I always wanted to build.
Now, actually, didn't Chris Amon end up punting that at 5A one year?
Yep.
Yep, I remember that.
The year after, when instead of the white bands along the sills, that he ran a yellow band across the nose. And
right.
Slightly, there was a few little air intake things on either side of the intakes. They had screen intakes up on the roof. It was just, but close enough that it was the same-ish type car.
It was also to warn everybody at Team McLaren that it wasn't McLaren driving that car and to get the hell out of the way.
Yeah. Yeah. No, for sure. I think that's probably all you guys want to see.
I could show one too. I finished one yesterday or this morning that is going to a customer. Can you see that?
Oh, the turbine car.
Oh, helmet, beautiful.
Yeah, this is the Protoslot kit. We have you guys know, most of you know that I work at Electric Dreams one day a week. Electric Dreams is one of the local, for the guys who are not local here, it's one of the local big 1/32 scale stores. It's slowly becoming more of a hobby store or more of a raceway. Up until now, it's basically just been a warehouse that sells 1/32 scale cars. But we now have a 6-lane track in the building, and we get customers from around the world. And this particular guy lives, I seem to remember, in Kansas or somewhere like that. And he's more a collector than a racer. And he's been collecting 1/32 scale versions of every car that ran at Le Mans in 1968. And he tries to find them in 1/32 scale, and even just as display models, sometimes the only way you can find one is to get a slot car. And so probably 6 weeks or a couple of months back, he ordered one, and I built him the number 22 car, and then he came back now, and I built this one, which is the sister car. The only difference being, apart from the decals and the color, the fact that this one's on a Slot Classics chassis, so that he can actually trundle it around his little Scalextric circuit that he apparently has erected in his apartment. But yeah, that's one that just finished today. It's a pretty nice little kit, but not something that you would want to race.
Dennis, who did you say the maker was?
Protoslot.
Oh, Protoslot.
Mm-hmm. and when you get it, it has the white paint on it already, nicely painted, nice high gloss white. So you just got to mask and cover it, mask it and paint it for the blue and the silver. And then the decals are actually very, very nice. They work well, they fit nicely with a little bit of microsol and microset. They sit down very well, and it probably takes longer to cut the headlight covers than it does to do just about all the rest of the work on the car, because they've got those funny little teardrop shapes down there and multiple curves. But the glasses, the clear stuff is all vacuum formed, but it's actually very close. It fits a lot better than I've seen on some others. It's a nice little kit.
Whose wheels are those, Dennis?
They are the wheels that come with the Protoslot kit. They provide the wheels. They don't provide any tires. They just provide the bare aluminum wheels, and they provide the wheel inserts.
Oh.
So those are Halibrands with nice big knockoff, 3-ear knockoffs, and they fit directly into the wheels that they provide, which fortunately fitted onto the Slot Classics chassis that I used, because I didn't use the Slot Classics wheels because the inserts didn't fit. And I really didn't feel like turning down inserts to fit the other wheel.
And the tires then, are those yours or?
No, the front tires are the ones that came with the Slot Classics kit, and the rears are some Nincos that I had lying around that fitted. So I just used those. He's not going to be doing a lot of racing with it, and
right.
It doesn't have a lot of power in the motor in that little Slot Classics chassis anyway. So yeah, that's what I did. I just thought you guys might want to see that.
Yeah, very nice. Very nice.
Okay, so let me stop sharing. There we go.
I found that while you were nattering away, Dennis. I found the, that's the chassis under the little monogram Ferrari.
Okay, yeah, more of one of your, still Bear Dog pieces though.
Yeah, I just took the Bear Dog and cut it in half and put a flexi pin on it and a couple of torsion bars.
Mm-hmm.
And I cut he has his tongues set flush. I mean, it's one piece set with the guide plate at the front.
Yeah.
So I just hacked that on and just put a guide plate on top of the cross member just to give it a little more, lower the front end of it.
Some of the ones that I've done with Bear Dogs, they were the early ones where the front, where the guide sort of floated on the chassis, and so I actually soldered the whole thing solid.
Yeah, good idea.
Because I did one a couple of years back for the I think the first or the second one of those Grand Prix of Montana, the things that Mark Huber and Jim Hansen ran.
Yep.
And
they're running those again,
1512 Ferrari.
Yeah. They're running, those have been resurrected again.
Oh yeah.
Okay, someone else's turn. I'll show you one thing that'll really, here, this is cool. These are cool. A couple of guys have bought those NSR Formula One cars.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
With really hideous helmets on them.
Uh-huh.
So I'm not doing this for anyone else or anyone ever again in my whole life. It was a huge pain. But I built some helmets for guys.
Oh, yeah.
Those, hold on, those are 132nd?
Yeah.
Wow, nice.
So the faces aren't in there yet. The faces go in from behind, and what I basically did was I took the screens off and made them dark, because if you saw me painting eyeballs and stuff, you'd retch. So
Yeah,
I can't paint eyeballs for love nor
very
money.
few people can. They always
Yeah.
say don't use
So-
white when you paint eyeballs.
Yeah, the helmets look great, but the actual faces don't. So I put a dark tint on the inside of the visors.
Well, just cover the face with a balaclava. You'll be fine.
Yeah, well, I could, but still, I got eyeballs in there.
There's a guy in Brazil. He calls himself Interlagos Miniatures,
Yes,
and he paints helmets as well.
and
And-
he does them with a pin.
I don't know how he does them, but they are
They're
absolutely
unbelievable.
gorgeous.
Oh yeah,
And there are now there are sets of decals coming from Spain from a company called Atalaya,
Yeah.
Atalaya,
Yeah.
that fit that NSR generic car.
yeah.
And so if you take the decals and the helmet, you can get something that looks like this. Could really zoom in on that, couldn't I? Can you see it?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's the Mansell version. And then I also had I'm not sure. I'm going the wrong way. Damn.
What the hell?
Don't worry.
How do you do that?
There's a little arrow.
How do you do that?
There's a little arrow on the side of my screen.
Yeah,
But
how do you
not
get
in Zoom. Not in the Zoom screen. There we go.
There you go.
That's what I was looking for.
Okay.
So that's his Mansell helmet.
Yeah, no,
Wow.
he does. I think he does it all with a pin. Like everything's hand lettered. It's unbelievable.
They're absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah.
Wow.
That I did this one a little while back for as an article for Robert Schleicher. So it's going to go into the I think one of his upcoming online issues of his Model Car Racing magazine. So it's a whole step-by-step thing where I took out the driver and I took off that horrible helmet that
Yeah, that helmet is
Chris
not
was
very
talking
good.
about, put on this gorgeous thing. I've actually done two of them now. I did the Mansell one and the PK one, both of them for customers at the store.
Wow. Just remember to keep them on separate workbenches.
Actually, the interesting part was when Atalaya did the decals, that the PK decals are a race livery and the Mansell decals are the presentation livery. So they're actually different. But they made the mistake on Mansell's car of not making the number 5 on the front red. So I had to make a new decal for that. I scanned their original and then got into Photoshop and made it red and then made myself a new decal for that.
Wow.
But yeah, that was fun too.
Very cool.
I see Steve Hendrickson on the line today.
Yeah,
I
he's
just wanted
sitting there listening.
Yeah, I just want to give a shout out to Steve and to Paul Miller, who's not on here, Shappy Man 66, the two guys who have been helping me a whole bunch with 3D printing as I've started up, and it's just representative of the kind of community that we have and how good it is. The amount of help I've had from these guys has been amazing.
How's it working?
Well, right now it's not because I've got a broken machine. The little slot on the main board
Right.
that takes
Yeah.
the SD card, the micro SD card, has crapped out. So when you push
Right.
the card in, it just spits it straight out again. And so I've just completed about a week's worth of correspondence with China, with the factory, because it's the only way that you can get anything done is you have to talk to them in China. And the first time you ask them something, then they don't understand, and then you would send a photograph, and then the photograph's not quite enough. You need to send a video, and then it goes, to the engineer, who says, maybe you're not pushing it in far enough. Please show me another video where you're pushing it in all the way. And I'm saying, dude, I wish I could tell you, I am also an engineer, And guess what? You know, I did push it in. Yeah, anyway, so there's a new main board on its way for me. And
Oh, God.
in the meantime, I've ordered a couple of those little SD card holders from the local electronics store. And once
Sure.
the new card arrives, I'm going to repair the old card as well.
Yep. Well, let us know when you're back up and running.
Thank you. Yeah, yeah. Because I tried to print. Steve sent me this gorgeous
Lister.
Lister Jaguar, and I tried to print it, and I made such a mess. Oh, it came out awful. It started great at the bottom, and then the next thing I look and I see, oh my goodness, I'm looking for the photograph. I've got it here somewhere. Coming up, there it is. There it is. Let me share that. Where am I?
Now you have all of Paul's settings, right?
I have some of Paul's settings, and I've actually got a couple of other settings.
Good.
So I'll try those at some point. So this is what happened. Everything worked kind of well at the bottom, and then as it got closer to the top, and of course the inside of this is full of supports running longitudinally all the way down, because my slicer doesn't support a cross pattern as far as I can tell. I think it just has those longitudinal supports.
You'll get it. That was probably the best file I have, is Paul and I mentioned, and it's a beautiful file.
Yeah,
Don't you guys have the same printer? Don't you guys both have an Ender 3?
no, I have a 5 Pro,
Oh, okay.
but it should still print the same. But
Yeah.
when I printed this, I didn't ask Steve for his settings. I just took his, because he sent me the STL file, and I just put it into my slicer and printed it with the settings that I had, and that's what happened. So I was probably printing too fast and not with enough fill and things like that. So we'll get it right.
You will. And the settings Paul sent you should really help.
Yeah. And
Anyway, we'll see what happens.
the other thing that I kind of enjoyed when I looked at this file, I thought, hey, that's a nice Lister, but it's left-hand drive. You know, and
Sure.
I want to do a Cunningham Lister Jaguar. So there's one button. You press one click in the slicing software, and you've got a right-hand drive, because it just mirrors it, and it's perfect.
Yep, I
So,
built the green one and the Cunningham.
Okay.
I'll grab them.
You know, all you need now is a little Archie Scott Brown to drive it.
Well, I want the right-hand drive one so that I can do the Cunningham one, because I like that color scheme.
I was hoping you guys had both had the same exact printer, because then Steve could literally just send you the G-code file.
You know, I mean, the Ender 3 and Ender 5 use the same extruder and the same hot end, and the only real difference is the way that the axes work, and the size of it, and the quality of some of the components.
So,
Greg,
But that
For those of
prevents
us-
you from being able to share G-code. You got to slice it yourself.
Yeah,
well, Paul has the same printer, so he sent his Cura
yeah, I've
settings.
got it all. I just haven't had a chance to.
He just hasn't. Yeah, so we'll see what those do next.
Yeah, once I get the new board and get it all set up, then I will report back.
so what is that problem caused by? Just incompatibility of software, or?
No, it's caused by the wrong settings, and the fact that I was probably, by the time the machine got to these horizontal surfaces, it was printing too fast, probably not cool enough, probably not enough resin coming or filament coming out, those kind of issues.
Yep, you'll
Those
get
are
it.
holes, right?
Pardon?
What we're seeing there are holes in the surface.
Yeah, it's
not supported.
They call
just
it
real
filament.
thin.
Yeah.
Just thin.
And I mean, you know, it would have been fine, I think, if I'd been printing slower, but because the surfaces are 10 layers, so it should have been okay. But
No,
anyway,
that's plenty thick. That's not
Yeah.
a problem.
yeah, it was 0.8 millimeters, so it should have been
Yeah,
fine.
you'll get it.
I'll get it, I'm sure. But I just wanted to say thank you to the guys that have helped, because it's been really great.
Well,
so far.
Yeah, well, we'll see how it goes when you get your parts.
Mhm.
You'll get
I
it.
was gonna look for something here if I can find it.
While you're looking, I'll share a funny thing.
Go ahead.
That car crashed there.
You can't, okay.
Can you see it now?
Are
Yeah,
you kidding? That for real?
That is for real. That car crashed into that spot from the
Okay.
neighboring. I don't even remember which straightaway it was on when it crashed, but
But it must have snapped coming out of the turn.
it was just all over the place. He might have had a little help in the process, but yeah, you don't see him land quite like that very
Oh,
often.
it's
So.
interesting that no spectators were hurt in the process either.
Yeah, but
No,
we're any chipped.
No, everybody's in good condition.
Hey, is that Russell's track or was it somebody else's track?
No, that was one of Alan's tracks.
I was just about to say, because if it was
Oh.
Russell's track, maybe some of his spectators got a photograph of that.
All right.
Did those show up? Did those show up?
Yep.
Yeah,
they
look
did.
nice.
They're gorgeous. Yeah, those are gorgeous.
Now you're gonna make me change the Cunningham, aren't you?
No, it's your Cunningham. You want it that way, that's fine. Yeah, they look great, Steve. They really do.
It's a nice file.
If
Good.
mine come out like that, I'll be very happy.
You will be.
Mm-hmm.
You will.
Got any
Okay.
close-ups?
No, that's it.
You'll
How do I get out of this now?
press the red button up the
There
top.
should be a red stop share. There you go.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm a 5
Okay.
kind of guy, so even if you can still see a layer line here or there in the close-up, then it doesn't bother me none. But you're printing high resolution. Did you do any post-processing other than paint, or did you just paint?
Well, there's always sanding. Basically, before you pull the supports, I do the sanding, just so you don't break anything. Then pull the supports. Squirt on a layer of primer, see where you're at. Sand the primer, put on a quick coat of paint, see what it's kind of doing. Then go to work on it before the final. That's kind of my progression, you know. That's just how I do it.
Yeah, no, sounds about right. I mean, you can get pretty thin layer lines, so that that's what you would need is a quick spritz with a primer, a quick sand, and then down.
They aren't much hard. They're really about the same amount of work as the average resin bodies I've gotten. Not the really good one. I mean, Renicky made really good ones. They didn't take a whole lot of work, but most of the resins that I've got anyway, and I haven't done a ton of them, it's been about equal as far as sand, prime, paint, you know.
Steve, do you use like a high build primer or just a regular primer?
Regular. I don't use anything fancy. I paint them out in the driveway.
Oh, wow.
I put them on the end of a paint roller. I tape the end of the paint roller, I slap the car on it, I stand in the driveway, I spray it, and I carry it inside. That's it.
And after my own heart.
So how would you do something like this then? I mean, you need a pretty small paint roller.
Yeah, I'll find something. I'd find something laying around. You know, we race them. All of the cars, they're not shelf queens at all. They're not models. And none of us are really model builders. I mean, you guys put us to shame with you guys that are model builders. We race them pretty hard and they get used. So I think if I built some of them that I see some of you guys do, I wouldn't want to run them. I mean, they just look great, you know?
Well, I don't, none of mine are, I race all of mine and am stupid enough to send them in proxies so other guys can race them.
You should see what some of mine have looked like when they've come back from proxies. Oh,
Yeah, I've done a few proxies and they've come back in pieces.
I sent one in about 2005 or 6 it was a Can-Am proxy that was arranged, that was organized by Phil Kulpfel in Tasmania. And the cars were away a bit over a year, and they traveled from everywhere to Tasmania. They ran a couple of races in Tasmania, I think 1 or 2 in Australia. Then they went to the UK, and then they came back to the US. And I think there were like 16 races in the series. And man, the cars were broken by the time they got back.
Sure.
They looked bad, because it was one of those where you could run a hard body, or you could run a styrene vacuum formed body, as
Oh.
long as it weighed a certain amount, or as long as it was a certain thickness. I don't remember which it was now. And so I used a styrene better body from the UK, Porsche 91730, the Donahue Sunoco car. But I rebuilt the rear of the car, because if it's a vac form, the wing isn't separate. It's all formed into the fins. So I actually had to cut it out and build up the fins, and then mount in the wing separate, and build the top deck that was under the wing. Did all of that in the styrene. So you can imagine what it looked like by the time it got back, because it was all glued together, and man, cracked up. But I haven't ever fixed it. I've left it just that way, so that I remember what it looked like. Because the chassis still runs good. Yeah.
There are a lot of real race cars that are thankfully displayed like that, because you realize just how dirty and beat up they get during a race.
Yep, absolutely. I had another one for Chris. You might enjoy this one, Chris. A customer, the guy that I deal with in Connecticut, sent me this body that he'd been painting. This is a Cox BRM 1/24 scale.
Yeah.
And he'd found it somewhere, and he'd upgraded it a little, and he painted it, and he had some GRC wheels and tires.
Yeah.
And he said, I've had this stuff for years, and the guy I bought it from had this really crappy chassis under it, and I need to build something. I need you to build me something for it. So this is what I built for it.
Perfect.
He wanted just a plain brass rod chassis with the open drop arm. That was the big deal that he wanted.
Yeah.
So I did that up for him. He sent me the bracket, and I squeezed all of this inside of that one, in the side of that little body. It just mounts on the front, just that. It's tight enough over the rear that you don't need anything there. So that came out pretty nice. He's very happy with it.
That looks period correct.
It was kind of cool, hey? And I had never seen these wheels before, because I really don't know much about GRC as a company.
Well,
The wheels are plastic,
yeah.
but they have an aluminum or aluminium for you guys, for some of you guys. They have an aluminum hub inside the plastic where the set screw is, or grub screw for some of you guys.
Yeah.
So I don't know, is Billy still on? Maybe I hope he appreciates it. And the rears were just some kind of sponge from back in the day, which I cleaned up a little for him. The fronts are hard rubber, but the front wheels, they lock onto the axle, which rotates in a tube. But so the center of the wheel is stationary, and the outer ridge of the wheel, where the tire mounts, is actually two halves that are held in place by the tire, and that whole piece rotates on the plastic hub that's inside. So the center of the wheel stays stationary, but the outsides rotate, and therefore they're independently rotating. And I'd never seen that before anywhere. Chris may know about them, but it was something.
Yeah, those are original. GRC's claim to fame was they made a car called the Spitfire.
Ah, yes, I remember that.
Futuristic thing.
Yeah.
Those are the wheels from this, and by the looks of things, those are original GRC fronts and rear tires.
Oh, the rubber is original too, yes.
Yeah, but that thing had like a plastic clip-in weird drop arm. The motor clipped in like the old Strom, there was no chassis. It was like a monocoque thing.
That's
Everything.
right.
clipped
Yes. Yep. I remember now.
in. And I think they only ever did the Spitfire.
It's quite possible.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that now.
Not a world beater at the commercial trucks.
No, I'm sure. And I'm sure this won't be either, but it was a kind of cool project.
Sorry, Chris, were they an American company or?
DRC, oh yeah.
Oh, okay.
Everything in the 60s was American. Like basically, I was on another forum today, and I was trying to list out the manufacturers. You know, we were talking about this on the forum 3-4 weeks back, 5-6 weeks back. And I didn't say anything at the time, but a couple of the guys were saying, you know, we're so lucky now because we have, you know, so many different brands and so much stuff. And I felt like saying, we've got nothing now compared to, there were dozens and dozens and dozens of men. Like every month there was new manufacturers and new bits and pieces and motors and wheels and tires and bodies. And, you know, I listed off 20 or 30 manufacturers that were major manufacturers that are no longer around today. So everything was.
But there were some Japanese companies that did enter the fray, like
basically at the end.
And some of those Japanese companies, their product was sold here under a lot of American names.
Yes.
So AYK was one, and Marusan was another.
What about Nichimo? Was it better?
Nichimo, but I think Nichimo was sold here as Nichimo. I don't know that it was sold as something else.
Yeah. The Marusan stuff.
Sold as Atlas.
Yeah, there is. I'll get a better picture, but that's my Cox BRM.
Oh,
Nice.
super detailed. Yep.
That's
Absolutely
nice.
lovely.
I love the goggle strap. That's brilliant.
Well, the mustache is even better.
Now, did you paint it?
Huh?
Did you paint the mustache?
Oh, absolutely.
Well, then you can do eyeballs, no problem.
No. Mustaches are easy. And for goggle straps, a tip for everybody, if you're doing helmets, just sand off the bloody molded in helmet strap and just get a little piece of woven hockey tape or nylon tape and cut a strip and wrap it around the helmet and away you go.
I got lots of hockey tape.
Well, I can't, you know, painting helmet straps is right up there with painting eyeballs for me. I just no longer do it. So
What about for 130? What do you do for 132nd scale straps? Do you still use hockey
Same thing.
tape or?
Just cut it thinner.
I went to Canadian Tire, or the guys in the States can go to Dick's or any sporting goods store like that. And they make sheets of nylon material that's adhesive back for repairing tents and knapsacks and shit like that. And it's really thin, costs nothing, and you can get it in red. And it comes in a pack of red, black, blue, and stuff. So you just use an X-Acto to cut little tiny strips of the stuff and put it on. It, you know, it's got texture. It looks a lot better than a thing, and plus the helmet strap doesn't vibrate up and down every 1/16 of an inch when you're trying to hand paint the thing. So,
Well, and I don't want to be too much of a rivet counter, but I don't think they had straps in, like safety straps or seat belts in the car then, did they?
they did not. No.
Okay.
Certainly not shoulder straps.
Yeah.
No.
No.
Just saying.
It's
Yeah,
a
no.
revival. It's a revival car.
Ah.
It's not historically accurate. It's a revival.
Having actually tried to drive Formula cars with loose belts because I thought it'd be cool once, it ain't easy.
We're just showing more care for our plastic miniatures than what they did for their real drivers back in the day.
Well, since we're sharing, I'm going to go ahead and share a video of. Oh, now it disappeared on me. Let me back up. Oh, that's not what I was looking for. Gosh darn it. Let's try that again. Stop that. There we go. Okay. Let me try that again. See, I'm supposed to be the pro at this. There we go. See a track?
Mhm.
Okay. So this will probably be choppy for you guys, but it's a video of the 3-lane that was recently built for one of our Analog Club members, Blair Mazenheimer. This was built with Luff's kit that I sold to Roger. I'm forgetting his last name. Anyways, this was a lot of fun. There's a couple of close walls, but there's never anything bad about a new track to race on, right?
Roger Fossum.
Awesome. Jesus. Thank you, Russ.
Oh, there are a couple of squeezes there as well. It seems
Yeah,
to me.
if you can see my mouse, there's a squeeze right back here in the
Yeah,
inside
and then one,
wiggle, and then right
and
here.
then one up here in the donut. Yeah.
Yep.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, and
Quite short, which is quite nice.
very short. Yeah, his previous track had the infield was like a third of the lap was all squeeze. So that was challenging. This isn't nearly as bad. And as you can see, the squeezes aren't real tight, so 1 and 3 can still get around each other just fine.
Yeah.
So how long is that, Greg?
It's a 16 feet long is the table, and then 4.5, I think, is the width, maybe 5. It was meant to take relatively the same footprint as his previous 16x4 track, but it's on wheels, so he can push it against the wall now when he's done racing.
And so it's probably about 60 feet of lap length or somewhere around there.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, it's
I
about
think,
the
I
same.
think that's what he said when we asked him.
Much the same as my track. It looks good. Nice.
It's good length, nice.
Yeah. Lovely.
Nice little track.
Yeah, absolutely.
It'll look great once it gets some landscaping too.
Yeah, and he'll probably put some stuff on there. His last track had something in pretty much every nook and cranny he could put something into. So I expect that one will get landscaped to some extent.
And that's up your way, Greg?
Yeah, it's over in Puyallup.
Okay. Nice.
Those that know.
How long did it
Road
take?
trip.
I was gonna say, how long did it take him to build, Greg?
Well, he was kind of building it. It was his first wooden track that he built by himself. So he was kind of going slow. I think it took him a few weeks from start to finish because he was doing it. The irony, of course, is that he just retired and wants to kind of make tracks for people in his retirement. But he found that he was actually working more having retired than prior to retirement. His honey-do list was quite extensive, and he found that he had less time to build his tracks, to build the track than he thought he would after he retired. But
Greg,
yeah.
Greg, I think he said he had 420 hours in that build, and he thinks now that he's done one, he can do it in about 225. So that's where all the cost is in building that track. But it's really unique because all of his joints are done with a biscuit tool. And so all the joints are biscuits, right? Which is really nice. It's designed so it could be taken apart, put back together.
Yeah, I think the reason he spent so much time on it is that it's quite over-engineered. It's not just a bunch of MDF stuck to a tabletop, with slots in it. He designed it to be transportable, relatively, movable, right? If Blair moves, the track won't get destroyed in the process. And because he wants to be able to, promote that, as an option and a feature to people he makes tracks for. So he was basically engineering all this interesting stuff, and how is he going to work the electrical and stuff, being that the pieces, the track comes apart, and keep the table strong but light, and all that kind of stuff. So
On another note, Dennis.
yeah, he's there.
Dennis,
Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm here. Sorry.
Okay.
I was on mute. Yes, sir.
Bill Zambora is his name. I had it wrong.
Yeah.
Bill Zambora did the Maserati and the Ferrari for me. They're supposed to be sent back to me this week.
Okay.
I know that it's going to take internal work on them too. The cars really look nice. I've seen the pictures,
Okay, that's
but
good.
you know, we'll have to, maybe we can talk when I get them. We'll
Sure.
talk about it, and so he charges me to do that.
Yeah, sure. Let's see it when you get them back, Russell. Let's see what it is. See what they need. But I'm
Thanks.
glad that he's done good bodies for you.
I appreciate it, Dennis.
No problem.
I was actually just wondering what the status is on that. So
Yeah.
there you go. Good to hear it's progressing in a positive way.
Looks like we got a new guy on.
I'm leaving you guys. I
All
got
right, see you next
company,
time,
so
Luff.
we'll see you next week.
Okay, look, we'll talk to you soon.
See you, love.
Yeah, it looks like we have a Gordon Happer here who has the cover on his camera apparently. His video is working except it's entirely black. So either he's sitting in a very dark room or he's got the privacy thing on his camera.
They got it. Yeah, exactly.
Or no camera at all. Maybe he's confused his computer into thinking there's a camera, but there's not.
No, I saw a flash there.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
He's probably feverishly looking for the thing or how to unmute. He's probably talking at us, but we can't hear him because he's muted.
It's something that amazes me that a number of people I help with computers are installing Zoom and they have no camera, no microphone. It's like,
Yeah, you kind of need those things.
yes.
Yeah, they were the same people in the 90s who complained about their cup holder breaking.
Yes, yes. That's what we call an ID 10T error. You need to write that out to understand it. But
Let me get that one.
Yeah, just press the any key, you'll be fine.
exactly.
Pebkek.
Well, while we've got a lull, actually, I have to thank that little sort of thing that I did for casting, and we actually got a couple of orders. In fact, I'm packing some up today, so there's more Lotus 33s that people want. So very cool. Thank you. And all the bits that go along with it. So
Yep. Awesome.
yeah, no, thanks very much. That's awesome.
This one's for you, Russell. This is an old Scalex that I just restored for a guy.
Nice.
When you say old, do you mean?
Tin plate?
No, not tin plate, but that's the clamshells with the old open frame motor in them.
Oh, okay. Not the modern reissue.
No. That's probably, what's that, 62, 63?
Yeah.
Yeah. Bet you it didn't look like that when it was new.
Well, maybe not. Didn't look like that when I got it from him either.
Hmm.
But
Very nice.
Did you upgraded the wheels, Chris?
Yeah, the wheels that he sent me were pretty crummy. So these look a lot better. And before anyone says anything, the 156s had a larger diameter spoke on the front than they did on the rear.
Hmm.
So it was funny. There was a proxy one of what's his name? Dennis alone? Moose, Ken.
Ken Wainert. Yeah.
Yes. He ran a proxy, and one of the guys entered a 156 with two different size inserts, front and rear.
Hmm.
And the guy who was judging the concourse docked him points because he said, your wheels, the front and rear wheels don't match. You lost 5 points. So the poor bugger had to go through all kinds of image pictures and show him that no, in actual fact, it is totally correct. So it's always important, I guess, if you're having a concourse to have a judge who has some sort of idea on the subject matter. So
Yeah, I blame the public school system.
there you go.
I mean, I remember distinctly in grade 2 learning specifically about Ferrari Formula One cars.
Yeah.
2 + 2 is 4, you know, and the Ferrari Formula One had different size spokes on the wheels, right?
There you go.
You should never have got me started on this sharing crap, Greg. I'm just gonna be going nuts.
I mean, like I said, we've got no topics. I don't see anybody going, I have a question. So, you know, if anybody's got a question or something, then by all means, what you
Did
got,
you ever
Russ,
manage-
raise your hand.
Oh,
Did you
Russell's
ever
got a
build
question.
it? Did you ever
Russell's
put a
got a
scratch
question.
build chassis under one of those, Chris?
Under the old Scalies?
Yeah, or even the new ones. Because there's not a lot
The
of
new
room in
ones-
there.
Yeah, the new ones a lot because we ran like an early 60s 1.5 liter
Oh,
class
okay.
club.
Cool.
So I've got a lot of pretty, I mean, you know, you got skinny tires and a 14K motor. So it's just a 2055 rails and a motor bracket and a guide tube and you're pretty well done.
Yeah. Yeah, I did one for a customer in St. Louis. By the time you were done, you had to actually take the front axle out of the car to get the chassis out of the body
Yeah.
because I fed it right through all the original suspension detail.
Yeah.
What's up, Russ?
Give me a second. I'm going to screen share a little.
1000.
Dennis, I was going
Yes,
to
sir.
screen share. Yes, sec.
I was gonna say maybe if you got pictures from email from that guy, you could share those too.
Yeah.
Poor Gordon down there with the black camera.
That story about the wheel size reminds me of an incident at Indianapolis one year when they were using both Goodyear and Firestone tires. And this one team discovered that their car worked better with Firestones on the front and Goodyears on the back.
Yeah.
So on one side of the car, they had a label that said Fire Year, and on the other side of the car, it said Goodstone.
Yeah.
Well, that actually happened to Dave McDonald's car and contributed to his accident. They actually changed the size of his tires. Well, that went nowhere.
I'm channeling to Russ.
Okay.
Hey, there we
You're going to
go.
help Russ out here.
Oh, I'm going to try it.
Okay.
You got this. You can do it.
I can do it. Now you did it. Ah,
Okay, it happens to all of us.
Oh, wait.
Okay, while you're waiting, I'll just show Dennis. That's
There
just
we
the
go.
simple things that I put under the new Scaly stuff. Can't hear you.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, that looks about right. Yep. Nice.
Yeah, no, just, I mean, and you
And,
know.
and they actually work really well, these
You don't
simple
need
little
anything.
frames.
Yeah, and that's 047 wire, so it twists a little bit, and that's all you need.
The more I build, the more I'm trying to build them simple and lighter nowadays.
Well, it's, you know.
Chris,
and it
wasn't
is-
that the car? Wasn't that built for a Lola or that you made?
That was built for, but that's yeah, I mean, 2047 rails like that, as long, you know, I've done that under all kinds of stuff.
Oh, okay, cool. Sorry.
Now we
yeah,
can
it's,
see that,
it
Russ.
is.
Yep.
Can you see it?
Yep.
Okay. These are, he supposedly painted them. They're ready to go.
Wow.
Mechanics
That
do
looks,
it.
that looks good. That looks really good. Excellent.
Wow. And those are tin plates, right?
Tin plate.
Yeah. Yep.
He's done a
those
nice
are
job on those.
tin plates.
Cool.
So yeah, I thought they looked pretty good. He's I went on his website and he's got some pretty nice stuff. He typically sells like stuff that people want. Like maybe a guy wants, well, I'd love to have a 55 Chevy because I had one when I was a kid. And so they'd paint it all out. He'll paint them all up and everything for you. But I was given his name by Tony, out here at Fantasy World. He's now with Scaly, and that's where it started.
Yeah.
He's really good at what he does, but I don't think he does the complete restoration.
What was his name again?
Bill Zambora. He's from back east.
Hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
You remember what his site is?
Bill's Custom Creations.
Oh, okay. That should be easy enough to find.
Yeah. So they'll be coming your way, Dennis.
Ah, okay. Well, yeah. Let's have a look. See when you get it all back, and we'll take it from there.
Yeah, that would be great.
Yeah, that's probably not the right site.
Do what?
I just Googled Bill's Custom Creations, and yeah, there's a few of those.
There's more than a few. Yeah.
Oh, is there really?
Sure,
Yeah.
are in there.
Try Facebook.
Be careful now, because I think they all involve silicone.
That was last week.
See what I mean?
That was last week that we talked about silicone.
You find them on there?
I'll have a look for it later.
Oh, okay.
Phil, how is your track coming along?
Oh, laying down. So I'm working on scenery. So putting down foam board. Did some today. Not getting far, but maybe by the weekend, have the terrain all laid in.
Have you actually
Is
run
it
some maps
drivable?
on it yet?
Oh, sorry.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's up and running. Although now
That's why the scenery's taking so long.
This is true. This is true. I did get. I bought a Jaguar X13 body off eBay. And if you look on the forum, spent a bit of today doing a bit of sleuthing, trying to figure out who made it. Consensus seems to be that it's Derek Cooper out of the UK, but these bodies have been, the guy I bought them from, Robert Ward,
Yep.
in Washington, said he did them and he got them in a trade from somebody in South Africa. So they are well traveled.
If they came from South Africa in a trade, they were probably from Russell Sheldon.
Russell Sheldon.
Mhm.
Yeah. I remember Russell Sheldon. Is he still in the hobby at all?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he's still there. Russell and I have known each other since 1975, I think. And, yeah, he's still racing a little, but it's mostly club racing, and it's not really scale stuff. It's steel cars and 1/24 scale flexies and GT12s and things like that.
Because he was really into scale for a long
Oh,
time.
yeah, yeah.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
And it seems to be the dimensions a little short. The width it seems to be spot on, but it's fiberglass, and the driver seems to be woefully small.
He also glows in the dark.
Yeah,
It's because he has a clear head.
yeah, interesting head.
That surface is going to need a little bit of work. Huh?
Yeah, and apparently this was just the way that they were produced.
Well, it's very thin. I mean, as you were rubbing it there, we could see your thumb through the,
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
the
yeah,
light
you can
behind it.
definitely
So, yeah, it's not.
see
If
through
it's,
it all.
if it's glass fiber, it's just one layer pretty much.
Actually, if you've ever had to deal with a racing driver, that empty head is pretty accurate.
No. The driver is from Roswell, New Mexico.
Ah, okay.
That's what it is.
Well, when I went to racing school, our first sort of thing was to see if you're a real race car driver. You take your two index fingers and put them vertically, then you put them horizontally, and you stick them in your ears. And if they touch, you're a race car driver. What was really funny was seeing 12 guys trying to stick their fingers in their ears.
And only 11 of them touched.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's why I had to pay
Gentlemen, it's been a pleasure, but I have to go do some other stuff tonight. But in any
Okay.
case, I hope to join you again in the future.
Okay.
See ya.
Okay,
later.
take care.
Good to meet you.
I have to head out too. See you guys next time.
All right. See
See
you,
you,
Steve.
Steve. I'll let you know as soon as my bits and pieces arrive.
Not a problem.
Yeah, those
Looking
cars,
forward to
look,
it.
those cars look great, Steve.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
very nice. Very nice. Yeah, I'll be bugging him for more of his esoteric Can-Am files over the years, because he's built some of the really, the backmarker stuff, right?
I've got a lot of that.
Yeah, because I actually have a project that I want to build every Can-Am car or every sports car that ran with a high wing. So that means mostly Can-Am, but a couple of others that ran with high wings. So, but where I'm going to find a file for a thing like a Caldwell D7 or a Mirage or a Cherokee or some of those weird things that are out there.
Well, we got some even weirder than that.
Oh yeah.
Well,
Yeah, a bunch of one-offs, that independent guys ran.
Yeah.
You can't even believe some of these cars.
Yeah.
well, the Cherokee should be pretty easy because you know how that car was built. It's built by Canadians.
Yeah,
They
it
actually
was
took a
copied off at Cox Chaparral.
That's right, and
model, yeah.
expanded it in 20 by 24.
No, you made me think of something.
Ah,
Oh, good.
If I can get back alive here.
Brush the dust off.
Actually, as a side, Dennis, believe it or not, the Cherokee in vintage racing does really, really well.
well, I
No
guess
idea.
a lot of those cars would have been good if they had just been reliable.
And a little bit of development. That's right.
One
That's
of
why
the things
McLaren
that
did so
people have
well.
been
They
able to
developed.
do is to make them
Yeah.
reliable now. I was at Laguna Seca 2 years back for the Monterey Historics, and they ran a Trans Am race, and that big old gray ghost Pontiac that the guys used to run in Trans Am, it walloped everybody, right? I mean, the Mustangs and the Camaros had no answer to that thing, right? But in the day, didn't do nothing, right?
No, that's right.
It was a Pontiac, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I thought it was, yeah.
There's one you're going to want, by the way.
Oh, the honker.
Phil, his name is Russell.
Russell,
You're gonna-
Russell
thanks.
Sheldon.
You're going to want that file. Let's see. I've got a ton of these old ones. Let me find some of the rare ones. I can hardly see them on this little screen.
That was the one car Mario Andretti absolutely hated to drive. The honker.
Yeah, wanted to
Oh,
switch
yeah,
names.
everybody did, I think.
Yeah.
You know what he said? You know what he said to Paul Newman?
Yeah, you
He
get in the
said,
car and
I'll
put
put my name on the front, you put your, and you get in the car and drive it. Yeah,
Exactly. Oh, wow.
that's 712.
That's a, hold on, that's a 3D print?
Yep.
He's got some gorgeous 3D prints, man. There's some lovely stuff there.
Do you do US RRC cars?
I just do Can-Am.
But in 65, you could have had both, right?
Yeah,
That's a Toyota.
66.
65, 66, I mean.
You like that?
Nice.
Yeah.
Toyota, right?
Yes.
You have any marches, Steve?
Yeah, I have the original, in fact, if I can find it. They were so sexy. Let's see
707.
if-
Big car,
Yeah.
too. It was like the,
Might
like
be
the
in this
Porsches.
picture.
It's enormous.
There, there's down at the bottom.
Yeah, that's the one.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he's down there, and then the yellow BRM up in the corner is pretty rare.
Yeah, that's the one the year after the
Yep,
Castrol car.
yep. And there was another one after that too. So you got a lot. I'll quit. There's tons of them. I mean,
All right.
I think I've got 32 Can-Am cars now, 3D
Oh,
print
Chris.
file.
Oh,
Not counting Lolas or McLarens.
wow.
So there's a lot of them.
Chris, that's a vacuum body, isn't it?
That's
Yeah,
exactly,
that's one
of
of Victor Ferguson's
Ferguson's.
March 717s.
That's nice.
beautiful.
Yeah,
That's really nice.
with a few little, see if I can find that again. A few.
Where do you get the,
Stacks
where do you
made
get,
of.
where do you get the
Art.
colored stacks?
Yeah.
Where do you get those?
Those came off of one of the Revell Monogram M6s, and then I just hit them with a little bit of
Yeah, blue.
clear blue paint.
God, they look metal.
Aren't they?
Yeah.
They
great.
do, but I can tell you,
Well, Chris, you usually use ferrules, don't you? Like metal ferrules?
yeah, ferrules. Just the back end of it.
I was talking to Victor Ferguson just the other day.
And?
He's in the process of selling off a lot of his molds,
Great.
but
I didn't
not
hear
not the scale molds and not the 1/32 molds. He's going to keep those.
Yeah.
But
I did-
a lot of the retro racing molds and the thingies and things like that, the 1/24 scale stuff, the non-scale stuff,
Right.
he's selling off a whole bunch of those.
This is the only one I've done that isn't a Can-Am car. I did for a friend.
Love it.
3D printed,
Nice.
Wow.
kind of fun.
Now, being a young South African when that thing came out, what the hell car is it?
The Mercury?
Mark, yeah.
Okay, we
Yep.
didn't see those in South Africa. We didn't get them. Nothing that big.
God, there's just tons of these. I forget.
Oh,
Oops.
is that the Strombecker body, Chris?
Yep.
And those look like ferrules in there.
Yeah, well, that's, unpainted, untreated ferrules in that thing.
Very,
Well,
very nice.
How do you get the flares on them?
Sorry?
Something like
How
that.
do you flare the ends?
That's how they come.
That's how they
Oh.
come.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if you Google or just look for uninsulated ferrules, you'll find they come in all different lengths and widths and sizes, and I've got them, great big honking ones like this and little tiny ones, and you cannot paint you can't paint an aluminum ferrule, like it just looks like hell. You put a few of these in and the whole car is transformed.
Mm-hmm. Sure is.
But that was a narrow car. The only reason I built this is I remember a kid seeing Paul Newman drive this in the movie Winning.
Yep.
And I thought that was a pretty cool car then, but other than that, no.
That's interesting.
That's very cool. That was the movie that got him racing.
There's the printed version.
Yep.
Wait, you 3D printed one?
Yeah.
Wow.
And I forget what this yellow thing is. I think it's called a Bennett. It really does look like that.
Is that not the McKee Mark 14?
Is it? I
Yeah,
get
it could
so
be.
mixed up.
I think
And,
so.
it could be.
Yeah.
They put a wing on top of the motor?
Yep. In fact, that is it, because we've redone
McKee
that
one.
file. This one's a little shorter than it should be. We made it longer and smoothed out the back. Strange car. We had to build it from scratch, so it took a while. We're not great CAD guys. And the McKee was built from scratch too as a file. That's a good file though. That's the reason I ask about the carburetor stacks. We 3D print them, but you can't get them to look as that. All those look so nice on that model he showed.
Yeah,
You just can't get that level of smoothness. You just can't do it.
Uninsulated ferrules, and you can pick the flare, pick the length, pick the
Yeah.
depth.
Oh.
I've done them. I've used those too back in, before the printing, but you kind of get caught up in it and print everything. But boy, those look nice.
Hey,
Yeah.
Steve,
Yeah.
I have not seen some of those figures you have on your landscape. Where are those from?
Oh my God, I've got, most of them come off of off of Thingiverse, okay?
What is it called?
Thingiverse.
Oh, wait, but that means you print them though, right?
Oh, they're all printed. Yeah, I think I've got 500 printed figures on the track right now.
Wow.
You know,
Do you sell the figures?
no, I don't.
Yeah.
Russell, do you need figures?
I've got your standard Carrera and figures like that.
Yeah,
And I've got some pewter ones too.
yeah,
But
yeah.
I could use some different,
I-
other
my-
than
my-
sitting
my-
here holding a book.
Sure, yeah. Well, my daughter and I just did a run for, Bob and Picton. He needed some figures, so we just cast some more for him. If you want to see some, I can go and grab some, show you what.
Yeah, that'd be great.
If you have access to a printer, probably, I suppose probably have 200 that are different. I mean, they're all different.
Wow.
Easily 200. And then maybe another 100 of sitting figures that are also all different.
So
Wow.
that's the thing that I've been having a hard time finding is figures that look appropriate for a slot car track or a racetrack.
Yeah,
Especially sitting figures. Do you have a collection on Thingiverse?
I don't know where I found them, but I do have a lot of sitting figures. And if you want me to squirt you a file?
Yes, that would be awesome.
I
I print a bunch for Russell.
Yeah, let me check and see if I have you I'm printing another 20 of them right now, as a matter of fact.
Russ, I assume you're okay doing some painting.
Yeah, the virus is here. The virus is here, and I'm old. What the hell do you do? You can't go to restaurants. You can't go to movies. I can take my car. I take my toy car out for a ride every day whenever it's nice. That's about it. If it wasn't for the car and golf now and then, I'm in the house. Sit in front of the TV set with a brush in your hand and a thing of paint, and you can get a lot of figures done while a movie's going on that tube.
Yeah.
But I do.
Steve, I saw a new Creality 3D printer today that they were showing.
One?
The one that has a belt on it, yeah.
Yes.
So you can print long things, or you can print hundreds of the same thing over and over.
I know.
That's looking
God,
pretty.
You can't get ahead of it. You can't do it.
Yeah, I know.
I'd stick with what I've got I gotta go. I was supposed to be somewhere 20 minutes ago.
That's
Get out of here, Steve.
Thanks, Steve. See you later.
Talk to you later.
smaller ferrules, Steve.
The more ferrules, yeah.
Just
Yeah.
smaller diameter ones. That was a proxy car. Dennis ran that at his place.
Yeah, and it ran really, really well too.
Yeah.
I seem to remember it won that round.
Well, it won.
Or it won the whole proxy.
It won. The way that was set up was you get points in descending order, and 1 point separated each place.
Yeah.
So it won the first 6 races and finished last in the 7th race.
And that was the
And
end of
because of
it.
the way the points discrepancy goes,
Yeah.
the guys who were finishing 2nd and 3rd consistently ended up winning. But I called the guy and said, what, did a wheel fall off? And he said, no, it was by far the quickest, but everybody was trying to get the lap record with the thing, and they kept coming off. So, such as.
Nuts that, yeah.
But that car is a bullet.
Mhm. Yeah, it's beautiful. Ran really, really well. I remember that one.
So now what do we do, guys?
I'm actually looking for something.
I mean, we're coming up on 2 hours, so I can always hit the stop button.
Give me a moment. I'm just looking for something. I seem to remember I was showing you some artwork of my wife's one time,
Oh yeah.
where she was painting paintings of cars. Here we go. And I was looking for these. Where am I? Hold on.
I think you serviced the Chaparrals last time.
Yeah. Okay, so what I'm showing you now, this one,
Oh, there you go.
she did that off a photograph, but you know, she had the photograph next to her and she did that in pastels. So it's or in acrylics. It's amazing. But every now and then I get her to paint some slot car bodies for me too.
Well, I was just going to say, maybe you should, just put the brushes away there, buddy, and pass
Yeah,
them
well.
to your wife.
She's done a lot of clear bodies for me for 124 scale racing. That was one of them. Here's another one where she painted the chassis through the body. All right. And that one.
So
Sort of hornet on it.
the John Gorski look-alike.
Actually, I do have some, if Russell's still interested, I've got some images of some of the figures that we do, all painted up, if you want to see it.
Yeah, love
Enough.
to.
Enough.
Okay, here we go.
Today's been the show and tell all day, huh?
Yep.
Show and tell week, yep.
Why not?
There we go.
Oh, nice.
Oh, nice.
So like, I don't know if you can see these are ones that we've kind of sculpted and put together, these guys. Along with that sitting driver who's fatigued. This guy as well, this guy who's basically screaming in the pits. And this was a combination of, the Carrera female driver.
Right.
With reduction surgery.
Not much.
Her feet
Yeah.
Well, trust me, there was a lot of resin on the floor, let me tell you.
Is that why that guy's lying right in front of her? Or?
Well, pretty much, yeah. I think someone's begging for a date.
Those feet do look small.
Yeah. Yeah, I always thought it was the hand, but never mind.
Do you sell those painted or just unpainted?
We'll do both. Painted, they're a wee bit expensive. Unpainted, they're $2.50 a piece.
Right. And how
So
much?
there's another picture there. This is my favorite guy to put at the end of a pit lane.
Yeah.
Now this arm actually is separate if you get the figure, and you can put it wherever you want. Let me keep going here. Sorry, I can't remember what's on here. There you go. This guy's fun, running across to a car. These two are actually repops of, the Revell drivers that you got with those vintage cars from the 50s.
Mhm.
Yep.
Yeah, only, and they paid up really, really well. And of course, there's a Strombeck. Some are repops, most are actually ours that we've kind of had some fun
Okay.
with.
So
There you go. There's the
1/32 scale.
Yep, all 1/32. This is the fatigue driver for the pit wall as well.
Now,
He looks like.
what
like
did you say you get for them painted?
It honestly depends. We haven't, to be honest with you, we haven't sold very many painted. Most people want them unpainted. But if you want them painted, we can paint some up for you, depending on what you're looking for.
Yeah.
And if you want real sort of pylons, those are actually made of urethane. They literally bounce all over the place. Oh, you've seen this, and you've seen these guys. And these are heads from, what am I doing here? These are some other ones that have been done.
Hmm.
Do you have a place online I can go and look at these?
Yeah, here we go. So this is a 60s pit crew that we did. You can just email me directly too, Russell. But
Okay.
these are what we did for Bob, because he wants some 60s stuff. So basically, it's like, sports car racers, pit crew kind of guys.
Yeah.
Leave them like that, and it's the Gray Man Group.
Pretty much, yeah. Well, again, I have to put some tint in when we cast, otherwise you can't really see if you've got bubbles or not.
Yeah.
And there they are painted. So they paint up quite nicely.
Yeah.
And that's my daughter's Denise McCluggage tribute.
Should we have the polka dots on the helmet?
Yep. Oh yeah. I don't know if I can zoom in here, I think, right? Yeah. Let's zoom in. There we go. There we go. Oh, oops, I zoomed in too much. Hopefully you can see that.
Yep.
It's pixelating a little bit. Sorry about that. And then again, you can see the ones in the foreground are ours. There's that typical monogram Italian mechanic who doesn't know what's going on. And then one of ours in the back there. Let's keep going here. And that's just around our track, just to show what they look like.
Really cool.
Well, and there are some more here too. I mean, now if you take a look at what the original Carrera looked like, she looked like the front of a '59 Cadillac, for crying out loud. So yeah, there was a lot of reduction.
Oh,
The one sitting on.
I see that.
Oh yeah, take a look.
Ooh. Is that the front end of the caddy?
Yeah, it's either that or it's a modern airbag. God forbid you hit something.
Yeah. Okay, what's your email address?
Oh, it's really easy, Russell. It's KIT 9161 at Rogers, ROGERS.com. Oh, here we go.
RODGERS?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Rogers.
No D, just Roger.
Rogers. Yeah. Just no D, just a G. ROGERS.
Okay.
And here are the same figures you just saw Russell painted up. Like female spectators and so forth.
Yeah, that's cool.
A lot of them, those are all repops actually.
Okay, man, I'm going to.
Oh, by the way, for anyone got anybody from Australia, New Zealand? That's actually Denny Holmes' sister. I got to spend a weekend with her at Mosport.
Okay.
Cool.
Yeah, she's very sweet. Very. I may have mentioned she has a box of 8mm film of Denny racing in 8mm film. It's like
Wow.
unreal. Yeah, very cool. Anyway, I'll stop sharing. Here we go.
Guys, I gotta go grab dinner or I'm not gonna get it. But it's been fun. I appreciate everything and thanks very much, John. And I will talk to you guys on the next go around.
Okay, cool.
See you, Russell.
Bye.
Seems like we're winding down. Does anybody have any last minute things they want to share or ask or anything? All right, we'll call that the end of the chat. I'm going to stop the recording, but you guys can hang around and chit chat if you want to.
I'm
So
gonna go
until next time,
dinner.
come and chat with us. Otherwise,
Thank you, Greg.
next week.
Thanks,
See you,
Greg.
Dennis and John and
See you guys.
See you soon.